Hello everyone and welcome to not only the Gunpla network but the year 2023. I'm the Spicer and we'll be taking a look at our predictions for the year of 2023 in terms of kits. Now our predictions video is brought to you by none other than Canadian Gundam. If you live in North America, Canadian Gundam is your one-stop shop for everything Gunpla and Plamo. They've got a vast catalog that they restock regularly, flat rate shipping to the US and Canada, and a private warehouse option. They've got you covered for whatever you need, so when you're checking out their catalog and placing your next order, don't forget to use the promo code GUNPLANetwork to save yourself 10% off. Now, just like we did with 2022, we knew we were going to have to cast a pretty wide net because, well, in 2021 we didn't get any right. In 2022, I think we got one or two, so we're going to kind of keep on the same rules we used for 2022 and just hope for better results. So we'll have two different lists. We'll have our safe bets, things we're pretty confident we're going to see at least announced within 2023 if they don't release in 2023. And then some more wild guesses, things that we maybe were confident about in the past that just didn't happen. Or just something we think off the wall crazy because Bandai does what Bandai wants with no real logical pattern. That's just kind of how it is. We're also going to have a variety of grades and universes represented, so it's not all high grades, it's not all master grades, it's a variety of everything Bandai has to offer in the world of Gundam, except for SD. So, starting off with our safe bets. We're pretty confident we're going to see the entry grade line expand, and we think the Exia is the next most popular suit after the strike. We've got the RX-78-2, which has had a couple of different versions released. We've got the Strike, which has had a couple of different versions released. We've got the new Gundam. And the Exia seems kind of like the next step, because it seems like it's pretty much just pure popularity. The Freedom would kind of be another one up there. But I think there's enough Freedom stuff going on over the last couple of years that maybe the Exia is going to kind of stand out a little bit more. If it's just purely on popularity, which it seems to be, we think the Exia is the next one up. We also have the high-grade After Colony Taurus. I kind of feel bad for putting this in my confident bets, but at some point Bandai will hear me screaming outside of their office and eventually realize, hey, we never made a Taurus, except for one exclusive thing that didn't get wide release and was kind of garbage. So let's make a high-grade After Colony Taurus because we don't have anywhere else to really take this line. There are a lot of recolors you could do so you can get the P Bandai out of it. I just really want a Taurus, and eventually Bandai will relent to my constant demands. In 8th place, we have the high-grade Future Colony Butler Gundam. If the high-grade Future Colony Rose, or Future Century Rose Gundam is coming out, the Butler Gundam cannot be far behind. Maybe it's a extra super special P Bandai set that it comes with after the fact, or maybe we'll get another special P Bandai extra weapons set that also happens to come with the Butler Gundam. We think in some form or fashion the Butler Gundam will come out. I don't foresee it being a regular release, but we do think some kind of announcement or something will happen with it within the year of 2023, purely due to the Rose Gundam. We also have the high-grade Cosmic Era Aegis. This was one that was on our list last year, and we were a little surprised because last year was technically Gundam Seed's 20th year anniversary. Now, technically, Gundam Seed did end its run in 2003, so it's still technically its anniversary, so maybe they could still get away with it. But the base already exists thanks to Build Divers Re-Rise, so it's a little weird that we've not seen anything about a high-grade Cosmic Aegis. The line's really popular, and while it's not been super heavy on the base Gundam Seed suits, especially kind of the 4 main ones, or 5 main ones, I guess. Strike exists, but you know what I mean. It's gonna happen at some point. The base exists, Bandai likes money, and this is a pretty easy thing for them to do. In 6th place, we have the high-grade Future Century Dragon Gundam. This is, once again, due to the Rose, but also alongside that, the Shinlong also has come out, and it uses effectively a similar type of mechanism for its arms. So just repurpose that tech, change up some of the mechanisms and stuff, use a lot of the same tech you're probably going to use in the Rose Gundam, and you have the Dragon Gundam. This is probably, from an engineering standpoint, the next easiest step. Will it happen? We don't know, but we're pretty confident we're going to see something from the high-grade Future Century line, or Future... Is it Future Colony? I think it's Future Century. I could be wrong. It's been a hot minute since I looked up G Gundam stuff. But one other kit outside of the Rose will probably come out this year, we imagine, and the Dragon Gundam feels a little bit more likely than the Butler. In 5th, we have the Real Grade Victory Gundam. Not only is it an anniversary year for Victory Gundam itself, but the Real Grade line's running out of mainline suits, so the Victory hasn't been touched. They have done some smaller suits in the past, like the Crossbone, and, as much as I'd love to see the F91, that was on the list last year, and I just have zero confidence that Bandai really is going to put anything out for the F91. But Victory does have a pretty equally small cult following, and it has gotten a Verka in the past, so maybe the Real Grade line will have its one UC suit this year possibly be the Victory Gundam. In 4th, we have the Real Grade Shining Gundam. This is kind of the next logical step after the God Gundam if we're sticking with mainline suits. And, well, you could go to Seed or see Destiny, since it's also an anniversary, or maybe dip your toes into IBO. It feels like after the success of the God Gundam, you probably want to follow it up fairly quickly with the Shining Gundam, and that kind of is the MO. Usually, any kind of related suits like these come out in pretty quick succession, so if it's not this year, probably next year, but if it comes out in 2024, we'll probably get an announcement in 2023. And 3rd, we have the Full Mechanics 1/100 scale Pharakt Gundam. With the Full Mechanics Aerial coming out and the show continuing into its second core later this year and being pretty popular at that, we're probably going to see some IBO levels of Full Mechanics. That's still not a ton of them, but that does give room for 4 or 5 suits. So expect things like the Delons, or the Pharakt, or the Lefurths, any of those, but I think the Pharakt is probably the next most visually iconic from the series and would be the kind of competitor suit to the Aerial since it's already coming out. In 2nd, we have the Master Grade GP01 Full Burn Year 2.0. Bandai missed the anniversary for Stardust Memories. Not really that surprising. And this thing honestly needs an update. Well, we did think Verka could be something like that, or maybe an extreme version. We would just settle with a 2.0, so any kind of new GP01 Master Grade would be great, but maybe 2.0 is the way they'll take it. It's just kind of a base regular release. They aren't really thinking people are going to go crazy for it, or they probably would have done it on the anniversary. Usually if Bandai wants to make a big deal out of something, they really go that extra yard to make it a big deal. And in 1st place, a Master Grade Verka, or 2.0, RX-78G Ground Type Gundam. This and the GP01 are the next logical steps after the Zeta for the Verka line, or just a 2.0 at any point. Both of these kits are super old, and there's a lot of really interesting engineering that can be done on the Ground Type Gundam that doesn't make it finicky. GP01 with its whole core system is a little finicky in the Real Grade, and it could be a problem in a Master Grade if it's overly engineered like a Verka. But the Ground Type Gundam has a lot of really unique, interesting compartments and moving panels and things that really a Verka would be satisfactory to. Kotoki could go nuts and it would look great. No transformations like the Zeta or the Double Zeta. You could really kind of push this, maybe not quite to the level of something like the Verka New Gundam, but I think a lot of people would be really excited to see this, and it would still be left, like, people wouldn't expect it 100%, but it would be that thing, that's the kit of the year. That's what everyone talks about until it gets released. So maybe they'll do it. We definitely think we're going to see a Master Grade of one of these two in this year, fingers crossed, but we think the Ground Type Gundam would be a little bit more special in that Verka. Now for our wild guesses. These are maybe slightly, some of these could be interchangeable, because as I said, Bandai does what Bandai wants, so, and take it as you will. But in 10th place, we have the Entry Grade Wing Gundam. this, if we're kind of staying shifted to a Western focus for the entry grade line, makes a lot of sense. They did have that RX-78-2 America version, which was kind of weird, but okay, we'll take it. And the Strike is pretty popular universally, as is the new Gundam. So if the entry grade line is maybe more popular in the West, or Bandai is going to try to refocus, which I doubt they do, but if they do, the Wing is it. So if it's not the Exia, it's probably the Wing. In 9th place, we have the real grade Graham Gundam, or the Exia Repair 4. The real grade Exia base already exists. This design has gotten play in the Metal Robot Damashi line, as well as the newest SD game, so why not? You would have to re-engineer some things, you could use some parts from the Quanta as well, but overall you don't have to make a new suit. People who love the Exia are going to love the Exia Repair 4, and while it would probably be Bandai, it would be awesome if it did come out. But this, much like the Aegis, will probably be a base that exists that Bandai just really sleeps on until they have nothing else, I guess. In 8th place, we have the real grade Epion. The Heat Rod exists. This is kind of the only reason we've thrown it on here. And the real grade Wing line pretty much has nothing else left but the Epion. Why not? Why not do it? I mean, you could do like the TV version of the Wing Zero as well, but the real grade Epion is one of those things people will continue to ask for at a dull roar until it comes out, and, well, Bandai doesn't like to list it, unfortunately. In 7th place, we have the real grade Master Gundam. Early real grades liked to have a set come out effectively within a fairly short time frame of, hey, here's the RX-78-2, here's Sharazaku, here is the Strike, well, there's nothing for the Strike, here's the Strike Freedom, here is the Destiny, here is the new Gundam, here is the Sazabi. I probably got those release dates wrong, but that's fine, it doesn't matter. This would be a great follow-up to the God Gundam, as it's really popular. We think the Shining makes a little bit more sense, but it wouldn't be super surprising to see the Master Grade either. However, it's not a mainline Gundam, and, well, with a series that has a lot of Gundams, like Gundam Seed, some Gundams get shafted, and we think, unfortunately, it's more likely the Master Grade will just get ignored over that of the Shining Gundam. In 6th, we have the high-grade Cosmic Era Gaways. This was on our list last year as well, mainly because it's the last main grunt suit that has not gotten any HG release from Gundam Seed. Like, Bandai, the well is a try. You have like 3 or 4 suits from Gundam Seed you haven't done yet in any form of a high grade, not even like an old high grade. The Gaways had a mobile suit and action figure, and that was it. So why not bring out the Gaways, do a P Bandai Gaways R. The high grade Cosmic Era line's been doing really well. Kind of use this as the stepping stone to the kind of the final few releases until you kind of start getting to remastering some of those other kits. But this one has had no love, so it kind of bumps it up to the list of like, eventually it'll happen. In 5th place, we have the high-grade Future Century Maxter Gundam. This is one that we think we would see Bandai make a big deal out of, largely because its engineering would be different. Which is largely why the Bolt Gundam is not on here, is the Dragon Gundam could adapt existing tech, the Maxter Gundam would need some new tech, but they would really be like, yo, we did some stuff, this looks sick. Have you guys seen the Maxter Gundam? Look at this boxer mode, how sick is that? Look at the football player helmet, look at these weird beam pistols that it has for some reason. Regardless, this would be one of those things I think they would see as a challenge, and if there's going to be some kind of follow-up that they make a really big deal out of, it's probably the Maxter. But since the Rose Gundam's coming out, and it's kind of already got its own engineering stuff, kind of with the funnels, it's not really super crazy engineering, but still, they might push this off a couple of years. Regardless, it'd be still pretty cool to see it in 2023. In 4th place, the Master Grade Verka EZ8. This is one of those kits it would be really cool to see. It hasn't gotten a lot of love. Its old Master Grade needs an update. but it would be one of those that the Vert hotline actually serves pretty well. Over-engineering, doing some crazy stuff, making it more complex is kind of fitting for the whole 08MS team grounded aesthetic. Much like the ground type Gundam before it, a bunch of panels, a bunch of like swing out mechanisms and stuff that could be done that would be really awesome. But we think the ground type Gundam would come out first because it would serve as a base, and then maybe the EZ-8 after at some point. But regardless, if an EZ-8 came out, we'd all be pretty stoked. The third place slot goes to the Master Grade Verka G-Self. Bandai doesn't listen. People have been yelling about this for years, but if the time to strike ever existed, it's probably now with the movies. Which, I mean, to be fair, has been something you could have said last year as well. But regardless, Bandai does like to kind of strike when the iron is ice cold, so we'll probably not see this anytime soon. In second place, we have the Master Grade Aerial Gundam. It would be a little quick by comparison, as the high grade or the Master Grade Barbados didn't come out well. Iron Blooded Orphans was airing, if I'm correct. So it would be kind of surprising to see the Master Grade Aerial announced in 2023, but it wouldn't be impossible if it was like a mid to late 2024 release. They would probably want to give some time for the full mechanics to breathe, but if any line usually gets shafted and kind of ignored in terms of release dates, the full mechanics line's probably it, unfortunately. So Bandai would release the full mechanics, give it a few months, maybe half a year to breathe, and then be like, hey, the Master Grade Aerial is coming out in like a year and a half. And that would be kind of it. So it would be a little surprising for even a late 2023 announcement, but it would not be all that surprising because Bandai does what Bandai wants. And that leaves us at number one for our out there guesses. And as much as we thought this was a solid guess for the last couple of years, the Master Grade Barbados Lupus is on the out there guess list because we have lost all faith that Bandai is going to bring this out. It'll eventually happen, but Bandai seems to be focused on a lot of other things right now, and Iron Blooded Orphans is not it. Yeah, I guess technically you have a couple of things going on, but generally speaking, this seems to not be their main priority, and they'll probably save this for when they really need a banger for a year, because let's face it, when they bring this out, it's going to be a banger. This is going to be the one that people are talking about all year long. Even if you don't like Iron Blooded Orphans, you'll probably be at least vaguely interested in this kit because the Master Grade Barbados was pretty good in its own day. So it'll eventually happen. If it happens this year, cool, but we're not going to hold our breaths just like the G-Self. Anyway, those have been our predictions for 2023. Let us know in the comments down below what you think, what we missed, and if I'm crazy for screaming into the void about a high-grade After Colony Taurus. Because I am. It's true. But anyway, let us know in the comments down below. But I've been the Spicer here for the Gunpla Network. Please, friends, stay safe and keep on building.